Good morning, everyone. There's just a few more people trickling in. We'll just wait for them. Okay, so welcome everyone. And as usual, sorry, my camera just cut out there. Yeah, we're going to be investigating, as usual, into the nature of this moment, into who we are. And the theme for today is going to be Neti Neti. So we're going to be using sort of the via negativa, or the negative path of coming to realize that which we are, by first sort of clearing or seeing the operations of the false self. So I want to start maybe by I wanted to mention something that came onto my radar again yesterday. It's a beautiful mantra that comes from the Hindu tradition. It's the Asato Ma mantra. And it begins with Asato Ma Satgamaya. And it means something like, lead me from the unreal to the real, or lead me from darkness to light, or lead me from death to immortality. And there was something that struck me when I heard that. I realized how the mind can appropriate anything, no matter how beautiful it is. So when we hear these words, lead me from the unreal to the real, lead me from darkness to light, the mind, the egoic mind, hears that and it thinks there's somewhere I have to get to. There's some goal. You know, the conditioned mind might think I'm in this place of, somewhere bad, or in the darkness, and I have to reach the light, or there's somewhere good I have to get to. And so the ego turns awakening into a sort of goal. But the reality is, awakening is not something that is attained in the future. It's more that something is revealed here and now. It's awakening to what is always already here. So the very idea of realization, when it's understood through the conditioned mind, through the dualistic mind, the very idea of realization creates duality, as if there's something to realize and someone who realizes it. So realization is not an activity. It's not something that the mind can acquire. So it's something much more direct here and now, not via the mind, not via doing, not via activity. So if we've come to this place together, there's an impulse, a wanting, a deep primordial longing, you could say, to realize the truth or to awaken, like an energy or something primordial that brings us to the path, that brings us to this investigation. So we want to allow that to just be there, this deep primordial longing. And then we want to recognize how the mind wants to get involved with this process. The conditioned mind will feel that or notice that longing and say, what do I do? How do I make this happen? And that's the delusion of the mind, that there's something for it to do. So the mind only knows how to do, but being is always present. So this is a flip from this dimension of doing, this identification with doing and the doer, to just being. So for this exercise, we're going to begin with a beginner's mind, a don't know mind. And as I always say, at these investigations, we're not going to hopefully add anything more to the doing mind. We're just going to investigate into what the mind is already doing, what this veil of perception and thought, this whirlpool of mind is about. And part of this practice that we do is simply to make that unconscious mind conscious. So we have this intention to know ourselves, to directly know ourselves. And then we're just going to observe what comes up in the mind and body, observing everything that is impermanent, realizing what comes and goes. And we're going to investigate and find out, is there something which could be called real? Something that could be called eternal? Something that does not come and go? We're going to find out what remains. And we investigate this mind. Who or what is aware of that conditioned mind? So for the next 50 minutes or so, find a comfortable position to be in. You won't be moving for the next 50 minutes, so just get grounded. I'm going to let go of all knowing, all past concepts. Let go of all teachings, mind information. And just be here now in this moment with whatever is arising for you. We're going to investigate directly into who and what is here now. So let's become conscious of consciousness itself in this moment. Be aware of awareness. There's many names for presence or I amness, beingness. So just be here now. We want to directly experience consciousness or awareness. Intend to directly experience who you are. When we intend to directly experience who we are, one of two things will happen. Either you will directly abide as awareness, or the mind will generate phenomena. The false self will come up. So if you are abiding in awareness as awareness, there is nothing else to do. Don't let the mind look for something. The mind can rest. It can become a servant rather than the one directing the show. So if we are abiding as the self, there's nothing to do. And if mind-body phenomena is coming up, when we do this self-inquiry, there's still nothing to do except see, have a complete experience of what is coming up, what is arising. But that is not a doing. We're just letting everything be as it is without resistance. So the phenomena that comes up within the mind and body can take many forms. I'm just going to use words to point towards the usual aspects of mind that are hidden in the shadows. So I'm just going to use words to shine the light of awareness on the ego. And by ego, I just mean the I thought, the sense of I. And we're going to find out when we say I, what that refers to. There's all this changing phenomena that arises in the mind and body. It's always impermanent. But is there something that remains? Is there an awareness that is always present, that does not come and go? So intend to directly experience that awareness and just see what comes up in the mind. What comes up in the mind and body when you inquire directly into who you are? Just notice if there is any form of resistance in the mind and body. Maybe there's physical knots, pain. Maybe there's a contraction or constriction in the breath. Maybe there's mental resistance to doing this exercise, sort of low level aversion. Just notice we're not trying to change anything, trying to push anything away. Whatever we resist is just more of the ego. The ego is resistance. That's all it is. So we're not going to resist the resistance. This is the only way out of that resistance paradox. Just letting everything be exactly as it is in this moment. As we sit here, letting everything be as it is, notice if there's any expectation in the mind, wanting something to happen, some knowing or wanting something in the future. The truth is, the mind doesn't know what to hope for or what to want. The present state or Samadhi state is not something that the mind can remember. It's not a memory. So, whatever the mind might hope for, it's not that. We'll just let go of any hopes. And along with those hopes, there may be unconscious fear as well. The mind might fear letting go of control, or there might be a holding of these ideas like ego death. The mind might have some fear around that. Just make anything that is in play in the mind, just make it conscious. And once it is conscious, we can let it go in this investigation. All of this phenomena is impermanent. It's hopes and fears just arising and passing away. And all of the thoughts in the mind are like this, analyzing, evaluating. When we let go of analyzing and evaluating this moment, who remains? Intend to directly experience that one. Whatever is coming up in the mind and body, just let it come up, let it come. As Ramana Maharshi said, let what comes come, let what goes go. Find out what remains. Anything can come up in this process. Emotions, feelings, memories, regrets. It doesn't have to make sense. It could be guilt or shame, sadness, anger, or it could be joy, bliss, peacefulness. Notice if there's any preference in the mind towards the phenomena that is arising. If there's any preference, any evaluating of this and that. Notice if there's any judgment, any comparing or measuring happening. Notice if the body is seeking pleasure or release from this practice. Notice if the pattern of craving and aversion is observable. Notice everything that is coming up within the field of changing phenomena. Everything that is impermanent, arising and passing away. Whether it is physical, sensory, mental, energetic, spiritual. Just allowing it all to be as it is, recognizing the impermanent nature. So who are you? As all of this phenomena is arising. Who is the knower of the phenomena? Whatever phenomena arises, we can say, I am not this, not that. But who or what remains? Who is the knower of all experience? who is aware. Don't try to stop or suppress the flow of thoughts and sensations, emotions, feelings. They naturally settle down and clear from the mind when we allow them to be as they are, fully allowing, fully open to what is. There's nothing to do, just being. Abiding as I amness, aware of awareness. Notice if the mind is doing anything. Notice if the mind is manipulating, filtering. Just be open to that too. It's being equanimous with whatever is arising. In a state of non-resistance to what is. Whatever hindrances may be arising in the mind, just have a complete experience of that. If there's tiredness or anticipation, pain, thoughts, just let it be as it is. Find out who is here now, who is aware, who am I? Am I the tiredness? Am I the pain? Am I the impermanent phenomena? Is awareness tired? Is awareness feeling pain? Or is it just aware? Am I just aware? Find out directly. Be still and know directly who and what you are. For the last few minutes of the meditation, I invite you, if the eyes are closed, to just open them a little bit. And just notice the visual phenomena that is present. Notice the screen and these 100 avatars that are here on this screen. These 100 people present today. Individuals, vehicles for this awareness. So now we're going to transition into the next part of this gathering. And we don't have to end this inquiry, it'll just take a different form. So there's no bell to end the meditation. We can carry it into life. And for those who haven't been here before, what this is now is an opportunity to share anything that's coming up in the practice. If there are questions or challenges arising, or maybe insights, it's just an opportunity to share what's coming up on the path. So I invite you, if you wish to connect, you can use the raise hand feature in Zoom. And yeah, anything that's coming up, we can address. Yeah, I guess I'll start with Charlie. Hi, Charlie.
Hey, Dan. During the practice, I've been noticing this week that it feels like there's this energy coming through, which is almost kind of, it feels like it's dancing me. And at the start of this practice, there was this self-consciousness there, so I turned off my camera. Yeah, sometimes it feels like yoga poses, other times it feels like shaking, other times it's just like this sort of flow. And every day this week, it almost feels like it's sort of forced me into this kind of bent backwards position, and it sort of feels like it's at this sort of pain point. And then the mind starts doing all of this stuff. It's like, oh, should I stick with it, or oh, should I be more comfortable? And all of this kind of dialogue starts to arise. So it feels like it's just trying to make a decision about it.
Yeah, that's great. So yeah, what you're describing is it's a phenomena that comes up for some people. Not everyone in their practice will experience this, but to me, the kriyas in yoga are just this. The energy starts to become free of the conditioned patterns, and there's an intelligence in that energy. And sometimes the energy can be so strong it can actually move the body into different positions. And this is how yoga came about. We do it backwards. In most yoga classes, they teach these postures, and it's like we're imitating the things that have sort of spontaneously arisen for yogis in the past. So true yoga is being moved by that energy, allowing it to do its thing. And I'm glad you mentioned the question arising when that is happening. It's a perfect time to do self-inquiry. So sometimes, it really seems like the body is just being moved by that energy, but then that self-conscious mind will come online, and then the question will come, am I doing this? Am I just making myself move now? And that's really important. So at a certain point, there's an integration of this energy. So my feeling about this is sometimes the certain things can unfold with the energy where there can be holding of a posture or something like that, and there's an unblocking of energy. So to me, there's a purpose for it, but also there's an end to it as well. So it doesn't just go on forever. And if we can inquire, who is doing it? Am I being moved, or is there a sense there's a little I involved with it? That's really important. And then if we feel like It's just the mind doing something, because the mind loves to repeat. It just loves to latch onto something and get involved with it. So it's really good that you're asking that question. And yeah, and there's nothing to do except just let it happen. If it's happening, just fully let it happen. And if the little mind is involved, then just notice that there's like this little doer that somehow got involved with it. And other than that, yeah, just go with it. It's a sign of evolution in the practice. So it's good. Mhm.
I think thank you. I think it was like, I was wondering, like, does it push me into a point of like this unproductive pain when it starts to bend me into these more kind of painful, or there are these sensations of pain. So, oh, do I stick? Do I try and get more comfortable, or is it just a case of, all right, just be with it?
Mm. Yeah, well, that's a good question, and I think only you can really answer that. If it's unproductive pain, to me, unproductive pain is when there's an overwhelm, and probably the mind is involved. If it's unproductive pain, the mind might think, okay, I'm gonna do something here. I'm gonna make something happen. And so if that kind of thing is happening, then yeah, it could be unproductive. There can be, in my own practice, I didn't get a lot of kriyas, but I had a little period where they were arising, and there was a period where that, like, the arms just kind of rose up at one point, and it was like the energy holding them there, and it went for a long time, and I feel like there was like an energetic clearing just happening. So it can be beneficial as well if there's, that intelligence, really doing it. It can be productive, but if the mind is involved, or there's this efforting happening, or but I trust that intelligence. I trust it's not going to move us into a position that's going to hurt us. It's always the little mind that really gets involved with that, I think. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll go to John. Hi, John. I'll unmute you there.
There we are. Hi, Dan. How are you?
I'm good. Hi, John. Good to see
And
you.
hi to all of you all out there. It's been a while since we've had a connection like this, which has been great. I've missed this so much. It feels so good to be in this space together with all of you. And Dan, with your voice in that background, is so soothing. I had a similar experience in a recent meditation like this one, but this was a little bit more defined and more what I would call direct experience of it. And I was going deeply into the meditation and going into nothing, and then all of a sudden I got antsy. My body started to move on me, and I could feel it, and I was just getting uncomfortable. I couldn't sit where I was sitting. Kind of like Charlie I was feeling like I needed to do something to get rid of the uncomfortableness. But what happened was interesting, because I saw in my mind's eye this body going through whatever it was going through, but I didn't see it from the outside. I saw it from the inside. And the inside became, it was not my body, it was my consciousness, my awareness that I became, that I was being. It was really kind of a strange feeling, but a good feeling. And I could see from the inside out this vehicle, this body, this shell. And so I would float through in and out of it. And then all of a sudden I realized I was kind of weaving around, kind of, because I stood up and my feet were grounded, and I just started to kind of rock like a what do you call it? A bamboo field.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'm just kind of moving around like this. And you have to know, you know this, Dan, this is my Parkinson's. One of my worst symptoms is my balances. I have none. I have literally no balance. I have a tipping point that is like very close to being 90 degrees. Well, I'm sitting here weaving like this. And I noticed it wasn't my mind or my body, my mind that was doing it, or my ego, but it was just the body. The shell was just going on. It was rooted. And I was observing that process because I was in the middle of it. I was like inside the bamboo and watching the bamboo hold itself down, but I wasn't, I was just consciousness, just awareness.
Mhm.
It was pretty deep and made me really realize, because I have these moments because of my Parkinson's, I don't connect with the body. I am the consciousness because the body won't move on me when I want it to move. And so I'm becoming more aware that how to get to the movement is to get to the root and then just be.
Mm.
Because if I'm trying to do it, it's me doing it.
Mhm.
If I'm not the me, the vehicle, then I'm trying to move, like you say in Avatar.
Mhm.
If I'm not the vehicle trying to move it itself, I'm actually the presence, the beingness that wants to move it.
Mhm.
So it comes from a
Beautiful,
different consciousness level.
beautiful, beautiful.
So
That's a huge insight. Wow.
it was
Mhm.
really, I
Mhm.
mean, I was sitting there looking at, make my arm move or make this move. It was really quite profound. So I thank you for providing this space to do this because
Mhm.
it opens it up. I mean, I can meditate at home on my own, but oh, here's I almost forgot this. That's why I got on early because I didn't want to forget. Well, at one moment, what happened was I found my body doing this. And what happened was I was now in the space with everyone. So it was like the projection of everybody back behind me. We were the same projection looking out. So we were kind of, I was in the middle of the space, not as a body, but as this consciousness, this awareness that I could step in with 100 other consciousnesses and physically bodies and visual, but really just avatars. And it was really the connection of the whole, which I'm probably thousands of miles from Charlie. And I'm with Charlie and with you, Dan, but I'm with you in a different dimension. It was really profound.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. That's actually why at the end of the meditation, I invite people often to just be aware of, awareness is sort of non-local, right? So it's
Right.
like, the same awareness. We all share this awareness, and when we sort of let go of the individual, that we are, then somehow, it's so mysterious. But yeah, you describe it beautifully, and that insight is really, I think, important for a lot of people that whatever the mind body pattern is, whether it's Parkinson's or just the normal ego itself, whatever it is, when we drop that little I, then its spirit can move us, and it's beautiful. We don't know what will unfold from that, but we're in union with life at that point. So
The
it's
I becomes the am.
yeah,
The I becomes the am,
yeah,
and they become one.
it's beautiful. Yeah, thank you for sharing that, John. Yeah. I'll go to Alisan. Hi, Alisan. I'll unmute you here.
Hi,
Hi
can
there.
you hear me? Hi.
Yes. Yeah.
Hi.
Mhm.
Oh, thank you for those pointings. As we got into it, there was a point in where you were pointing to the sensation and watching what the mind is doing. And I had a place where I realized that I had this longing of relationship with the divine, and realizing that ego was playing out in that, wanting a relationship with the awareness or the one that watches, uh, that higher watching of the watching, even like a longing or and it came from my heart center, felt like the energy was there in my stomach, like this wanting. And then I surrendered to that. It's very interesting. Um, then surrendering to the fact that what the real self or the awareness or the divine consciousness is really not feeling or sensing or any of the physical information that we take in, that it's something that it's unexplainable. And then I got like this huge, again, I suffer from these burning physical flashbacks of menopause. And it's interesting even being at that, in that state, watching that, like just, and being attached. And thank you for the pointing of opening the eyes too. That's very powerful. This staying in awareness, I really have been struggling with doing in awareness.
With doing an awareness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because like as soon as I'm off the cushion, like I put on weight for, like after the silent retreat, I put on weight because I was like meditating pretty well. Any place that I could meditate, I would meditate. And then I had to figure out how to keep moving and being at the same time.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
And that's been a struggle,
Mm.
but it's, yeah.
So do you feel like when movement arises, you feel like you're not present when you go into the doing? Is that it?
Like when I first, yeah, even there's times when I've had deep meditations and then I go to work, I feel like I'm not attached to this world at all. Like
Mhm.
I'm not grounded. So
Mhm.
I've been doing more yoga now to try and offset that, just like trying to really play with being present and totally not attaching to the ego at the same time as doing, if that makes any sense whatsoever.
Mhm.
I don't know if
Yeah.
I'm communicating properly.
Yeah, no, you are. To me, this is a common thing that happens where, it's like in our meditation, we come, to a sense of peace. We know we're not the conditioned character, and yet, in the outer life, the character is still in its pattern. It's still doing stuff. So there's this sort of disidentification that happens, and so there's this sort of split that can happen, which it is sort of part of the process to disidentify. But for me, what's important, an important aspect of the path is when the energy is not going into that character, the old pattern. There's an aliveness there, which for me is the bridge from the cushion to life. So that energy, it's like what we started out talking to Charlie about the the energy, this intelligence that starts to move us, and to me, it's like when we start to align with that, and by alignment with it, I mean we just follow our aliveness. We just follow our bliss, and we start to be moved by that energy. Then it's like we become more and more of a bridge, a
But
living.
isn't that energy just a mind thing too?
It is, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's an intermediary thing. So, but the thing is, in like what's coming up for me is in Buddhism, the Buddha said, you know, like mind is Buddha, mind is Buddha. So the all is mind. In the Hermetic tradition, the all is mind. The universe is entirely mental. So when the mind is limited, then we have this sense that I'm this little person. When mind is unlimited, it's awake, it's Buddha. So it's not about negating mind. It's not about because there's a sense, if there's a sense of this witness that is separate from mind, that's still a duality. So we want, so the awakened, the living samadhi, or if there's a sense of a challenge with doing, this wu wei, or doing not doing, is the living samadhi. So that is, it's being lived, energy, spirit, consciousness, all of this is one thing, living as you, as life. So I think it can be helpful maybe to notice, if there is this sense of separation, if there's this feeling that there's, this, because awareness can sort of masquerade as the witness. There's a witnessing part of the mind that is aware of all of the other phenomena that is arising. So we want to, we don't want to live in a state of separation where we're sort of detached from life. So I think you mentioned something about the witness, about being aware of the witness, and I think that's the key. Like who's aware of the witness and what is being witnessed, and the more we abide as that, it's this paradox where like life becomes, the energy becomes free. Then if the sense of I is not entangled in the character, then the energy becomes free. And we don't want to negate that energy and say, it's just mind. It's just, like that's life. That's life energy. So,
But what about that energy of like longing for a relationship with the divine? Is that not mind too? And is that not just an energy of mind?
yeah, it's all mind. It's all a play of mind. And, but the delusion, the big delusion of the mind is that there's something that the conditioned self, or that doing mind, that it has to do something in order for that union to come about. You know, the mind is division. You know, the mind is always separating, and it's a beautiful experiment, because this is how the one gets to know itself. You know, it's like we would just be one thing if we, you know, there would be nothing, there would be no experience. So you know, whenever the mind is active, it's dividing. It's always dividing. So there's nothing the mind can do to experience oneness. It's when we recognize the delusion, and we recognize that oneness is here, that awareness is ever present. So so the mind isn't a problem. We don't need to get rid of mind. We just need to always know who we are.
And then the question, yeah, and then the question came up when I had the hot flash is, who's really experiencing this? Is it really the body? And it's like, is it?
So who
Like,
yeah, so
and
who
then
is,
I'm still splitting, right? Like I'm still like,
yeah,
is the whole thing experiencing at the same time the body and the
yeah, so you know, the question,
awareness of the awareness?
yeah. So
I
the when the question is arising, you know, the question is always in the mind, right? So like, who is that that's asking the question? You know, so like for me, the truth is never in questions and answers. You know, the truth is when that mind that is asking the question and trying to get an answer, when it settles, and we can directly know in that stillness who we are. And then, you know, then the mind, you know, once we're sort of, I don't want to say grounded in stillness, but we're grounded in awareness, because the words aren't quite right, but then the mind can come back, and it doesn't matter, you know, the mind can be there, but who's aware of that mind? You know, who's that one? The mind can drop off in deep sleep, but who is aware? You know, what is that primordial awareness that is there in waking, dreaming, and deep sleep? So that's the one we, you know, there's no answer on the level of mind. You know, who is experiencing, you know, if to find an answer is always on the level of mind, but the true answer is always direct. It's always when, you know, the mind is dropped off, or, you know, or if we are awake to that, then the mind can be there. The mind can be in any state. It doesn't matter. So how does that land?
Yeah, just it's all just about experiencing, I guess. That's what this life is.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the paradox. You know, we become free of the little self, and then, you know, in the self-inquiry world, we always talk about direct experience. And these are the two dimensions of the path, you know, knowing who we are, and then finding out what we are through these infinite direct experiences. You know, this aliveness and energy is then available to directly experience all facets of life. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Go to Marcella.
Hello, Dan.
Hello.
Hi, everybody from Belgium. Today I missed the meditation because my Zoom told me that you reached the number of participants, so it was impossible for me. But that's okay. I have a few questions to you, if you can answer me, please.
Sure.
Thank you so much for what you are sharing on YouTube. They are very useful. I started to work every day with the meditations from there. And I noticed during my meditation, first of all, a kind of energy, which is entering my body from the earth. It's like millions and millions of insects which are inside my body and gives me a very wonderful sensation of, I don't know, love.
Mm. Mm.
It's a very beautiful sensation, this one.
Mm.
And one another thing I noticed during the meditation, a kind of, I will describe it as I feel it. It's a kind of a rain full of energy, which is going from the up on my body slowly. And I start to feel sounds of the forest because quite every day I meditate in the nature.
Mm.
I even hear the animals walking. It's like it is a very good sensation, this one. But in the meantime, during the meditation, I notice that there are coming in front. It's like I'm a spectator of what my mind is projecting in front of me, and I see images of my childhood, for example. They are passing in front of me, and I'm just a spectator, like in a theater, and I see everything on the stage, and it's a kind of, I don't know, I'm not touched of what I see. I'm just watching and observing
Mhm.
and letting go.
Mhm.
And I wanted to ask you if this is normal. I'm new in yoga. I'm new in meditation,
Mhm. Yeah,
and
yeah,
I
it
know
is totally normal. Yeah, and like in self-inquiry that we do, you know, the dyad work especially, you know, the way it sort of works is, you know, when we come into presence and we have this intention to know ourselves, then what unfolds is whatever whatever needs to be cleared within the conditioned self will come up from the unconscious. So during, you know, the self-inquiry intensives and meditation retreats, people often report, sometimes it's like they go through their whole lives, you know, all the memories of childhood and experiences. Sometimes it's like a show that is just happening. But other times there can be emotions and very strong charge that come with it as well. So the practice is to not push it away, not judge it in any way. Like notice, you know, if the mind is saying, you know, oh, this is just mind phenomena, it's not important, you know, kind of pushing it away a little bit. Because sometimes it can be coming up. There can be energies that want to come through. It's beautiful that you mentioned the feeling of love. You know, sometimes there can be reconnections when this clearing process is happening. So people will sometimes report, you know, childhood experiences that might have you know, close down energy, and then that energy is starting to reawaken. So these feelings are a big part of it as well. And yeah, but it is totally normal, and there's no you know, there's nothing to do about it. Not you know, grasping onto anything or trying to do anything with these images, but not pushing away either. Just noticing if the mind is involved at all.
okay, okay.
Mhm.
And it is amazing because sometimes the universe is giving us lessons to understand better the what means the expression all is one and one is in everything.
Yes.
A few days ago, I was in the forest, walking and looking for some wild plants, which I use in the kitchen. And I started to use in the kitchen, and I found a fox in a trap.
Mm.
I never saw a fox. I thought they are red, like in the cartoons.
Mm.
And I was not afraid that she will bite me or anything. My first instinct was to leave it at the way it was. And after a few steps, I came back because I heard a voice which said to in me, not in my head, it was in me, that that fox is a small part from me.
Mm.
So I go back to the fox. I spoke with her and I said, I'm not here to harm you. I'm here to help you. She just seated for the first time. It is my first experience with these wild animals.
Mhm.
And I tried to open. I was not very practiced with, but finally I succeeded. I liberated the fox from there, and she didn't move. She looked all the time in my eyes,
Mm.
all the time. And I spoke with her, you can go now, you are free, go. She didn't move. And finally I said, okay, then I'm going. So after that, I meditated a little bit of this, that everything is one and one is in everything.
Mm. Wow, beautiful.
And
Mhm.
the fact that leaving the fox there is like leaving a small part from me in a cave.
Mhm.
Just leave it there and forgot it. It's
Mm. Wow, beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, nature can be a beautiful reflection for us, and that's amazing that the fox was peaceful and looking into your eyes. And
yeah.
yeah, and my experience is
Why
that
would it?
the deeper we go in meditation, these outer experiences will start to reflect the inner and what's going on in the inner world. Really, the inner and outer start to almost become more dreamlike. When you described that, it sounded almost like a dream. Looking into the fox's eyes, and that's my experience. Is the deeper we go with this inquiry, our dreams will become more alive as well. We'll have teachings and experiences in the dream world at night as well. So yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
two beautiful yellow eyes. Beautiful,
Hmm.
beautiful.
Hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah. We'll go to Parvane. Parvane, can you unmute?
Hello.
Hello.
Today was a privilege, my first time with this beautiful community. And I just wanted to say thank you and appreciate for what you're doing.
Thank you.
And I felt immense, enormous vibration. And it was so profound that sometimes it wasn't even the feeling. I merged so deeply that I wasn't even aware of the awareness. And when it was the presence, so deep, then, of course, the desire of the wanting that I stay, which, immediately noticing that is the mind, is the ego that, trying to make something of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I realized it. And I just allow it to be and let path.
Mhm. Perfect. Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, I just want
Beautiful.
to share my experience.
Yeah, thank you and welcome. Welcome. Yeah, it's
Thank,
great to have you here.
thank you
Yeah,
so much.
what you described is perfect. You know, it's often in the meditation when we have these it's you know these ineffable experiences, they're we can't describe them. You know, it's like we disappear somehow and we come back and we know something divine has happened, you know, and then the mind quite often will get involved at that point. You know, once the mind comes back and there's this knowing that something is happening, then yeah, and the mind can get involved. So it's great that you caught it, and yeah, there's nothing else to do other than recognize how the mind appropriates things. And you know, it's amazing to me how, you know, at meditation retreats often people will have an awakening or a samadhi experience, and then the mind will come back and the mind will say, I did it, I made that happen, you know. And and it over and over will appropriate it. And then, you know, when we have these incredible whatever it is, the direct experience, you know, the mind will try and get back there as well. So in the next meditation, you know, the mind might be thinking, okay, this is what happened last time, and let's
Yeah,
try and create the same conditions and make that happen again. So
yeah,
it's a great opportunity just to watch the mind and just always, you know, starting as a beginner every time. Yeah. Mhm.
thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah. Thank you. We'll go to Klaus there.
Yeah. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, sorry, I was one hour late, so I'm missed the meditation. Um, but for me the problem is so the last years yeah, in fact my body changed, and I got more and more health issues, and that yeah, in a way that makes it quite difficult for me to meditate, and so on the yeah, I can say my outer life has really crashed, and yeah, and with all those things, what for me was really coming up is a fear of death, and
Mm.
that is a thing that is yeah, driving me crazy.
Mm.
So
Yeah,
the
the
last,
fear of death is driving you crazy.
yes,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, because I feel I'm getting older. The body is yeah,
Yeah.
body is not the body as 10 or 20 years ago, and so I feel time is in a way running out for me, and I have no uh, deeper experience that I can say, okay, I know that I'm not the body, and so that is that I could be relaxed about that.
Mhm.
But yeah,
When you're meditating, you said, you know, there are challenges with the meditation. So can you describe a little bit, you know, specifically what are the challenges coming up for you and with the meditation and self-inquiry? You know, are there physical movements happening, or what's happening there?
yeah, yeah. It's So I started on the path 20, 30 years ago. So and I realized that with progressing age, it has become harder. So it is for me, it's like when I meditate, it's when there are feelings and so that I want to run away. I want to yeah. So it's
Yeah.
physically,
So uncomfortable,
yeah,
uncomfortable
it's
feelings.
really really
Yeah.
uncomfortable. Yeah.
Yeah. And so for you, like how much meditation do you do? Like, are you doing meditation retreats, or are you doing like daily meditation, or?
Yeah, I've been on meditation retreats, but so the recent years, as I'm as the problems in the body increased, I haven't been on a retreat, and I try to meditate as much as I can.
Mhm.
So, but I don't do it in a regular so that I say, okay, at 7 in the morning, or it's
Yeah.
more a spontaneous thing. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, so what's coming up for me, like I'll share a little bit of my own experience. So, um, at one point or early on in my path, I had a lot of physical stuff going on in the body. So like rheumatoid arthritis, type 1 diabetes, digestive issues, the immune system was not working. And at that time, the mind was very strong, and meditation was not comfortable at all. It was the opposite of comfortable. And I remember sitting through 10-day Vipassana retreats, just burning in it. And the teacher SN Goenka would always say, everything is impermanent. All this mind body state is impermanent, and and I trusted that. There was something in me that trusted it, and I kept putting myself in these conditions where I had to go inward. I had to move through my discomfort and aversion to what was happening, and it the equanimity somehow started to free the energy from this mind body pattern, but it took a lot of perseverance to do that. And the thing that I know works is putting ourselves in these conditions. So if you haven't done a retreat, it's probably the last thing that the mind wants to do. The mind, it's going to be uncomfortable for the conditioned mind, but to me that's how the energy can break through. So I don't know if that's something that's possible for you, or the other option is just whatever works. Whatever works in life, whether it's for me, part of my healing journey was getting a flotation tank, and just doing my meditation in the flotation tank, and it was a way to connect with these states without having going into an overwhelm state as well, because it can be overwhelming. So we want to find that sort of middle way of navigating through. So yeah, so I don't I don't really have any special insight, other than the work is to when these things are coming up for us. Like I truly feel now, when I look back at my life, that what I called a disease at the time was actually the thing that took me deeper into my own practice. And it was actually, you know, it sounds cliche, but it was a gift. You know, it was the thing that brought me into my inner world and got me to see the habit pattern of the mind and the craving and aversion. So so that, you know, for you, that fear that is coming up, you know, that's part of what, you know, the phenomena that we face in this practice. And, you know, so the question is, like, who does that fear belong to? You know, is that the conditioned self? Is that you? You know, that it, you know, does that fear belong to you, or is that the conditioned self, you know, creating that fear as a, you know, as a hindrance, essentially?
Yeah, I guess it's just a thing that I would say I'm identified with this body, with this person. So for me, the thought is when this body dies, I die, and I don't know what's happening, and I guess that is the fear, and
Yeah.
yeah, that what I'm yeah was trying to do with meditation is this identification that I can really as direct experience see, okay, I'm not the body, and I guess that is also the one and only solution. And when I can clearly, I heard it a thousand. So I studied Course in Miracles. There's this thought, I'm not the body, I'm free. But for me, the experience is missing. So that is, I guess, why the fear has this power, and
Yeah.
I'm trying this yeah to get this experience that I'm really not the body. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
you like a direct experience
Yes.
is it. Yeah. Yeah, and it's amazing, that it's awesome that you're doing this work, you know, that you're doing it when a lot of times when a mind body challenge like this comes up, you know, it's easier to you know, go unconscious, and you know, like you're doing it, so you've showed up here. And you know, to me, there's two aspects to self-inquiry, you know, to coming to a place of the direct experience. So there's that longing, you know, that deep longing within us to have the direct experience, and you know, this intention to directly inquire in the moment. And then quite often what unfolds from that is this clearing process. So the mind body, you know, we do the inquiry, and then all of this phenomena comes up. So the resistance comes up, the aversion comes up, the discomfort comes up, all of that. And that's, you know, we never know. Everyone is different. So every mind body pattern is different. But it's the process is to be okay with what is arising. So we do the inquiry, fear comes up, and we say yes to the fear. We allow it, feel it fully in the body, you know, or discomfort comes up in the body, tiredness comes up in the body. It doesn't matter what comes up, but if we keep inquiring, there's deeper and deeper levels of clearing. And you know, it is just an ongoing process. And to me, the people who I've found who have the kensho, who have that direct experience, they come to a point, and this happened for me as well. There was a point where it felt like my pain and discomfort was going to be there forever. It felt like endless. And there was a point where I felt like, you know, I actually got an image of Jesus on the cross, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to accept this. I don't care if you know, it takes 10 lifetimes or whatever. I'm just, bring it on, you know, bring it on. I just accepted the cross kind of. and I've seen this over and over for people. It's like they get to a point where when they accept everything as it is, whatever is arising, this is the paradox, is that it once we truly accept it, then the energy becomes free, because we've dropped that resistance to what is. So it's like they say in the Hermetic teachings, the way in is the way out, the way out is the way in. Mm-hmm. So the thing that we, see as our hindrance is actually the way in, if we can actually fully accept it, fully open to it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hard stuff.
It is, yeah. The human journey is that. I feel like that is what we're here to encompass, and yeah, not easy. Not
Yeah,
easy.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
yeah, yeah. But also, to me, there's that teaching, the great way, and they say in there, the path is neither easy nor difficult, so to awareness, to that awareness that is here, it just, everything is as it is. It's only the small self that makes that effort. So yeah, just keep inquiring into that awareness that is present. For that awareness, it isn't easy or difficult. It just is what it is. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I'll do one more to Tina. Hi, Tina.
Hi, Dan. Thank you so much. You pretty much answered everything in the last question, but there's just this one thing. Pretend that I'm a kindergartner, and I'm really struggling with this one thing. And this usually happens actually off the meditation. At some point in my life, I encountered deep humiliation and anger from a family member. And when I'm not meditating, it's almost like, let's say I'm in the kitchen cooking, in a very, unconscious way, that my mind starts not so much revisiting the event, but almost starts like what I'm going to say in defense. Like, it's just not able to get over this humiliation. And I've done so much, like forgiveness, sitting with it, also understanding this person's point of view at an intellectual level. And my heart is shut when this is happening. Anything you have, I would be greatly appreciative about this. It's just, I feel like there's so much energy that is blocked in that pattern that is keeping me stuck in many ways. And at a conscious level, I've forgiven them. Like I like them. Like
Yeah. Sometimes it's just there's just an imprint and it's just a pattern of holding in the body itself. Actually, have you done any kind of somatic release therapy around it, or any kind of conscious breathing or anything like that? Are you there, Tina? Oh.
Sorry, I got muted.
Oh, I don't know how that happened. Huh.
Yes, I have, but I think we have not been able to get to that which is holding it.
So have you worked with the breath, like doing conscious breathing and somatic release, that type of thing?
Not really.
Yeah. So that could be, so the breath work can be extremely helpful for stuff like that. You know, just even a few sessions, sometimes we can if you've already done the work, you know, you've sort of addressed it on the psychological level. You know, a breath work session might be a perfect thing to release it. You know, some of the tools that I like to work with are, you know, conscious breath. Movement can be amazing. For some people, ecstatic dance can help to unblock and release these holdings in the body. Some people, entheogens or you know, working with plant medicine can take us deep into the unconscious as well. For some people, they've had you know, real success with those things. You know, microdosing mushrooms, that type of thing, can really start to help to move the energy as well. Or Vipassana meditation is a great one as well. You know, doing a 10-day Vipassana retreat, you know, going into the somatic field on deeper and deeper levels. Sometimes we can come to that place where we feel there's like, we can actually feel the holding directly. And if we can get to that conscious connection there, then it can release as well.
So when you, thank you so much. When you say conscious breathing, it's like Wim Hof?
Yeah, or like, actually we have an amazing facilitator on Awaken the World, Chad Charles, who does every month a conscious breathing session. So he'll guide people through it. So so what he's doing, so Wim Hof is more, his is specifically really powerful for being acclimatizing you to cold, essentially. So so it's kind of specific, but the somatic release is a little bit different. If you go to one of Chad's sessions, it's doing a lot of intensive breathing, but he's guiding you in a way that you're not, the mind is sort of as out of the way as it can be, and you're just you know, it's kind of like holotropic breathing is another form of it, or somatic release is another name for it. But essentially you're going in and you're just breathing. You're bringing a lot of energy and prana into the body, and then you just let that energy do its thing, and these sort of cathartic releases can happen in that process. So if you want to check out Chad's workshop, he's the one we use at all of our retreats at the Samadhi Center, and he's amazing. He's the best guide I know for that. So.
Where can I find it? Sorry.
So on the Awaken the World site, or his, let me just check his email here. I believe it is chadcharles.net, but I will check that out here. Yeah, so Chad Charles, so ChadCharles.net. And it's also, if you go into the events page on Awaken the World as well, there's his next event is posted there as well.
Great. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it. Very nice session.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, well, thanks everyone. It was great connecting. We had a lot more people than normal. It actually went over 100, and yeah, someone did mention that they weren't even able to get in. So I think what we're going to do next time, we have another Zoom account which has a large meeting capacity. So so it's going to be a different link next time, and we'll have room for more people then. So yeah, thanks everyone, and take care. Bye bye.